All right, we're gonna try this again, you guys. I was just seeing if there was anything on my end, and I don't. I've updated everything. I mean, like I did that. I mean, it's been updated, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get this. We're gonna try it again. All right. All right. Thank you, guys. What's up, Cannibal? How are you doing, man? Man, I wish I could speak Portuguese. What's up? Devotos Cannibal, man. Legends. Straight up legends, man. Brazilian punk rock legends. All right. All right. We're going to get you on here. Evan. Yes. Okay. Yeah! Oh!
Did it happen? Yes, yes, Orlando.
Yes, yes, man. Yes, yes,
I had the
I.
luxury of seeing you the whole time, but now you have to bear with me.
Man, we all want to see you, man. People see me all the time.
Ah,
Man, mad cool, man. Mad freaking cool, dude. Man, shouts to all you guys that came out. Brother, man, Evan, we got Cannibal from the a legendary Brazilian punk rock band Devotos.
oh,
Shouts to him and all the other homies.
wow!
He
What an
came out.
honor.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
J Bell, we got Sarah Sapphire. Oh man, I don't have my glasses on, but man, thank you guys all for coming out. And this is amazing, man. We got brother Evan Taylor, and he's been putting in that good work, man. And mind if I
Well,
introduce you?
go for it, man. I mean, if you're so inclined to.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Evan Taylor is a singer, songwriter, producer, multi-instrumentalist, label owner, and also like owns a studio that has a lot of cool vintage stuff. Actually, this is how I met Evan. I'm for some of you guys that don't know, I'm a musician as well, but I was looking for just like I just saw this ad on Instagram for like vintage recordings, and I'm looking at his page and I'm like, wow, he has all this cool stuff, like stuff from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and I'm like, let me get a hold of this cat, and then you know then when I went to have the meeting with you, talking about the record, we just connected so much on so many different levels and talked about a lot of the stuff that I even talk about on a lot of these podcasts, and it's just so cool, man, just to see what you're doing, man, like just with the music and studio and all that. But there's something that I think all of you guys should know. He's played also with being a musician, he's played with the likes of the legendary Bernie Worrell from Funkadelic and Talking Heads, and that brother's played with so many different bands and stuff like that. Mike Watt, some of the members of Black Flag, um, Teresa Wayman from Warpaint, King Tuff, the Chaplin Sisters, and so many others. And man, he's done his own projects too. Experimental World is a recording that we'll talk about that. Also, the Purple Witch of Culver. So, man, dude. First of all, what's going on? Let's find. I don't know why I'm like getting nervous, brother. Tell us what's been going on. There's some really cool stuff that you've been involved in, especially like we mentioned Bernie real well. I really want you to plug this, man. So I hope that was a cool introduction. But
uh, that was an excellent introduction. I don't know if I'm deserving of it, but I'll take it. Thank you. Um, well, uh, other than sleeping, um, I've been tirelessly working on this project for Bernie, and it's an honoring of his legacy, all the work he's done, cross genres, which is something we should talk about because he was not only a funk man, he was, across the genre platform. He was an innovator, and I was hoping to participate in a record uh, that demonstrated that to people, and so um, so basically, we recently reached the finish line and announced yesterday that it's going to be a Record Store Day exclusive. Which, for those who don't know about Record Store Day, it's there are exclusive pressings that encourage you to go to your local record store to purchase them, and we are one of them, and it's an honor to be part of that. And a lot of really special people came together to make this record, um, and yeah, it's been a really rewarding process, and also, like any project, it's been absolutely exhausting. And I don't want to say I'm glad it's over, because I'm kind of gearing up for round two, if that was even possible. But uh, but I am enjoying the respite from the constant mixing.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's been all good. I had nothing but a purely positive experience making this record, and happy that it's going to be out in the world, and that's on 420, and that is just because of Record Store Day. It's not because we're trying to get people high or anything, but we are.
So how did this come about? And the album's called Way from the Wooniverse, right?
Yes, yes. That was a name created by Bernie's widow, who she developed in tandem with the P Funk universe a lot of mythology around Bernie, which includes the fact that al- although he's no longer with us, he is in a planet far, far away, and a a a wooniverse of sorts. Because we all know about we don't all know about this, but Bernie is uh, accompanied by the word woo often. And there's a lot of songs that talk about the woo, spreading the woo. It's just kind of part of the Bernie mythology. So it is a wave. I didn't get this at first. I thought this was like a really like Bill Lazian kind of thing, like wave from the universe, like it was a sonic thing. And then I heard that it was actually like a wave from the Wooniverse. Um, uh, Bill Laswellian. That's what I meant to say,
Wow.
not Lazian. But that that is the nature of the title. So that's where that came from, and we embraced it. And there's also a title track named "Wave from the Universe," which is a very fun track that I co-produced with Jared Samuel Eliasef, excellent producer and musician. And yeah, that's. I mean, I'll mention more people who are affiliated with this as we go. There are so many people involved in this record, and they're all very dear and special to me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. That was actually gonna be the next question that I was gonna ask. Like, who it's on the and it's Bill Laswell on there. I was curious about that. Does he have anything to do with it?
Bill Laswell almost was on there in a certain manner because we were going to use a track from the record Elevation, which is a solo
Mm.
piano record that Bill produced. And unfortunately, we didn't have room on the double vinyl to include that song, but since it's already been released, we decided to just let it stay, remain just on that platform. I think it was CD and digital, and it may come out on the digital release, but we're not really sure yet. But that would have been a contribution from Bill. There are songs that Bill started that I finished, which was an interesting process, and I can talk a little bit about that more as we proceed.
Sure, man. Um, man. I mean, like, what was I gonna say? So there was like, I don't know if you were allowed to say who else was on there or not. I actually know some
Hmm.
of the people that are on there, but I didn't know like if you were allowed
Yeah.
to mention that or if you wanted to surprise or.
No, it's all public now.
Okay, cool. I know
Yeah.
you got Norwood. I think you have Lonnie from Weapon of Choice on there too, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's it's so funny because we didn't really publicize yet that Lonnie was on it, and we got like an email today that was like, is Lonnie Marshall on this record? Is this the record with Lonnie Marshall? I'm like, who spilled the beans that Lonnie Marshall's on?
Oops.
But no, it wasn't even like a secret. But it was just really funny, like how quickly like he came in so last minute. It was like literally one of the last songs that we tracked. He came in and just ad libbed some vocals on a track that it's called Heap and Bowl of Gumbo, and it features Leo Nocentelli and Stan Moore, some New Orleans musicians. Also, Fred Wesley's on it, and and you know we needed something. Uh, we needed some of that Lonnie on there, so he just came in and just knocked it out of the ballpark. It was definitely it was an honor to work with Lonnie. Lonnie, I was introduced to by Tim Young, who plays a lot of the guitars on the record, and he's a beast of a player. And he introduced me to Lonnie, and yeah, and we've been hanging out ever since.
Yeah, Lonnie's a trip. Did he show you his shoes?
Oh yeah, he made some shoes for me
Yep.
actually. Yeah, he made some really beautiful shoes for me. Um, they they were I was like, I want some slip-ons because I only wear like slip-ons, and I was like, and I want them like mostly green. So he did some green, some orange, some splatters, some shapes. They're dope. They're really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I was tripping out on the yeah, he had some really cool shoes, man. Like I last time I saw him, we did some music video. There's a video. I don't know if he has it on his page, but I was pop locking with a few people that I know in that video. So you'll ask him about that. You'll be like, what? Like
Yeah.
doing all that. Like so, I haven't seen him in a while, but him and the homie Snake, I think talk sometimes. So it's oh man, it's a trip. Talk about connections, man.
Yeah.
Small world.
Lonnie has a residency on Thursdays at Rosalind's in Little Ethiopia, and it's all improv. Um, and you should check it out. It's a fun
I
time.
didn't know that he was doing that again. I remember some years back, and that's where I saw Dr. Mad Vibe too. Shouts to Frank Luis and freaking Angelo Moore and then the homeboy Snake and Dave. I met well, I've known Frank for a while, but like I met Angelo and Snake and Dave there. But yeah, I didn't know that they restarted it, so that's pretty cool to know. Cause like yeah, that was a cool thing. They had it years ago, some Funky Friday thing that they were doing, but and man, I didn't know that they started. That's pretty cool that they started it back, man. So I have to check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
You know.
We'll have to go, man.
Um. So here's a question, man. I always ask this, like, when did you start playing and what got you into music? Like, and like, just like your family background and how did you get into the stuff that you're into,
Well, once I
especially
was
playing
old
rock?
enough to join the family band, I chose. No, I'm just joking. Uh, I my parents are not very musical, and I think that actually was beneficial to me because I got to really kind of figure out my own way, and nothing was really dictated to me of how I should approach music. I, was fortunate enough to have lessons on certain instruments, and I was an awful student. I didn't practice. I only really learned how to practice like last year, but like I I just like never practiced. I only wanted to just play in bands, and I guess that was my practice, was playing with my bands. But other than that, I really didn't care about you know studying. And I think it was the fun of the interaction with other people. Like playing music in a solitary way. I think sometimes that creates like absolute genius with certain people, but for me, it was really getting to work with other people and starting my first bands when I was like 13. And then it's kind of funny because it's come full circle where um my like production method when I was in my early 20s was all about having as many people in the room as possible, all after the Spectre method. And then it's come like to a whole different place where it's pretty solitary right now. I'm fairly self-sufficient unless something's out of my wheelhouse. I generally try to do it by myself.
Mm.
But yeah, I went to a little bit of music school. I went to Cal Arts for 2 years and dropped out. I studied world music, and I wasn't particularly good at it, or interested at interested in playing it. I was interested in listening to it and learning about it, and I guess that could have been like a whole ethnomusicology thing, um, but I guess I wasn't really interested in learning that. A friend of mine took me to a club called Largo. Um, Originally was on Fairfax. They moved to the Cornet Theater in maybe like about 12 years ago or so. It was a little club, and he took me to see a producer and multi instrumentalist who did a lot of live looping and cool stuff. His name's John Bryan. He's produced a lot of records that I love and many other people enjoy. And also, his session work is extensive. And when I saw him play like bass guitar, drums, and piano and build a song out of it, and then start singing, I realized that like I wanted to focus on pretty traditional songwriting. I mean, I know that's like pretty basic coming from being in a conservatory learning world music, and like trying to assimilate with that culture of which can be fairly athletic in a way of learning the most number of instruments, or whoever can excel at playing tabla better or whatever. I mean, it's kind of similar to the jazz community too. But like I realized that I just wanted to kind of be a little basic, but then as I kept going to these shows at Largo, I realized that there's so much more that John Bryan was doing, where he really was able to play so many styles. I mean, he was on the cusp of basically being a jazz musician too, and I had this ridiculous notion that if I kept at it, I would eventually be able to do what he could do. but
Mm.
I realized that he's just one of those LA geniuses that he'll stand in his own place as that, and he also has this amazing ability to recall practically any song and perform it in any manner. Um, but that was one of my early influences as a producer and multi instrumentalist who is basically like self sufficient. And before then, most of the sessions I held, I just played drums, and I might overdub a keyboard here or there, a bass or whatever. But but I like it because I think that the moment you, and I didn't grow up with a like 4-track recorder or anything like that, and it's not because I didn't have access to, and I just didn't really have the interest in the technology part of it. Like I would get like frustrated with it, and I had like a demo version of Pro Tools that I messed around with, but I think that later on, what really was a turning point was that there's a studio in New York and Chelsea called Dubway Studios. It's not in Chelsea anymore, and I don't know if they're even there at all anymore. But uh, they used to have their like an intern on staff who would contact bands on MySpace and be like, "Hey, we have this midnight rate that's super cheap if you record with an intern engineer." And it caught my eye because they had a 24 track 2-inch tape machine, and that's how all these bands I knew and loved for years recorded, and I had never had that access. I think before, the closest thing to recording with that method was recording on like DAT machines before Pro Tools, but I really wanted to record on 2-inch tape, and then the moment I tried it, I realized that was my medium, and I still record a lot digitally. I mean, like over 50% because of what I have to do. But when I'm making my music or I'm producing an artist, I insist on at least starting on 2-inch tape and seeing how far we can get before we have to eventually dump into Pro Tools. And ideally, we don't have to do that at all. So that's that was a very long answer to your question, but there you go.
Yeah, I was gonna actually ask you how you got into recording, and just you kind of answered that, but I still wanted to ask, like, what was the thing that took you from just being an instrumental musician to just even the production aspect of it, and also being a label owner, like being, for all you guys that know, I don't think I mentioned the label that he has. It's called Lontaka. I don't know if I'm saying it the right way. Lontaka Recordings and also Lontaka Records. And
Yeah.
what is the
Oh,
meaning of Lontaka anyway?
well, it's actually pronounced, and don't be ashamed. Practically no one pronounces it uh, properly who isn't from the state of New Jersey. Um, it's Luantica. That's how it's pronounced. Yeah, no, it's it really, really, really like I shot myself in the foot with that because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a name that like the cool kids are gonna know how to say it, and then everyone else is gonna pronounce it wrong who doesn't get it, and then it turns out that like everyone pronounces it the wrong way except for me. And when I say it, everyone looks at me like I'm out of my mind. Um, but it apparently means like the place of cold weather or cold water. It really came from um, New Jersey has a lot of land that was inhabited by Native Americans, and it's a Native American name that
I
really
was
came
wondering if it
from,
was actually.
yeah. And it there's this trail that I used to walk on a lot, and through being a teenager, ride my bike, hang out, go there with friends, um, and it was called Luantica, and that whole street is also called Luantica, and it's still a place I go when I'm home, and walk there, and it's a place where I collect my thoughts, and I also develop new ideas there because it's a pretty substantial